Welcome to everyone who's watching. Today we have a veteran Indian diplomat who is one of the most seasoned diplomats that India has ever produced, and he has a lot of knowledge. And it would it wouldn't be wrong if I say he knows South Asia better than anybody else. We are joined with Dr. Vivek Karju. Welcome, sir. Sir, let us start with the South Asia. Recently, the China-Pakistan economic corridor has emerged as a classic concern for India and also for US because it also hampers US interests in South Asia. So, sir, what are your views over this issue?
There is the question of sovereignty. The corridor passes over Indian territory, even though it's under Pakistan's occupation, so we've objected to it. But there's a deeper problem with this. Till now, the commonality between Pakistan and China has been their negative approaches towards India. So both of them found it convenient to develop their relations so that together they could counter us. Now a positive element is being added because of the China-Pakistan economic corridor to their relationship. Because now the Chinese would need Pakistan for access to Gwadar, even if the India factor were removed. So, whereas till now their relationship was on negative pillars, today a positive pillar is being added. And I think that has major ramifications and for our security.
So, secondly, recently we have seen an uprising in the Pashtuns in the northwest frontier provinces. In past 1 week, or I should say in past 15 days, they started their protest in Fata. From there, they moved to Quetta, and now they have started protesting in Islamabad. So this recent Pashtun uprising and the Pashtun nationalism, which was considered dead after the downfall of ANP in KPK, do you see that the sense of regional nationalism is again on rise after the Baloch and the Sindhi nationalists were decimated by Pakistan Army's brutality? Now Pashtun has rejected to give up, and we have also seen a sense of isolation amongst the Mahajirs of the Karachi and the nearby areas. So, does India has any role to play to facilitate the human rights violations, to facilitate all these victims of human rights violations done by Pakistan Army?
With the Pashtuns,
Yeah.
the Pakistani establishment, which is largely controlled by the Punjabis,
Yeah.
have had a dual relationship. On the one hand, they've tried to co-opt the Pashtun leadership. They haven't succeeded fully, but to an extent they have accommodated Pashtun concerns because the number of Pashtuns in the army is substantial. And this also includes Pashtun officers, officers of Pashtun origin who have reached the highest positions in the Pakistan army. But at the same time, the Pakistani establishment is also wary of them. So this dual approach has been going on. But the third factor is that with the Pashtun Taliban, they've been very brutal.
Yeah.
The actions in North Waziristan and other areas of Fata have included action by air.
Yeah.
Very seldom do you hear
Yeah.
of a government using the air force to bomb people of its own country. But they are doing it. So I think there is a resentment among the sections of the Pashtuns. As far as India is concerned, obviously this is an internal matter of Pakistan. But we would be perfectly within our rights to raise concerns about Pakistan's human rights record. The Prime Minister did a good thing when in his Independence Day speech from the Red Fort on August 15, 2016, he drew the world's attention to what was happening in Baluchistan. And really he was telling the Pakistanis that they had no business to point fingers elsewhere when their own record in Baluchistan was so poor. So I think we should not have any reluctance in holding a mirror to Pakistan and its own human rights record.
Sir, we see that in Afghanistan you have been an ambassador of India to Afghanistan, and you have served there for a quite long time. So do you think that India should also, because now with the entry of Russia and China into the dialogue process of with Afghan Taliban and the government of Afghanistan, which is being so-called facilitated by Pakistan, should India also intervene or get up a stake in this dialogue? And should India also start talking to the Afghan Taliban, because Russia has started talking to Afghan Taliban?
I think it's not because Russia is talking to the Afghan Taliban. Of course, equations are changing. Equations are never permanent in international affairs, as in life itself. Things keep changing. There was a time in the 1990s when India, Iran and Russia were of the same opinion and exchanged views and also took policy decisions based on these consultations because the objectives coincided, the interests coincided. Today the Russians are obviously soft on the Afghan Taliban. They say because of fears of ISIS. Now, as far as India is concerned, I think we should talk to all elements. I myself have written about this, advocating that we should have no reluctance in engaging some sections of the Taliban or the Afghan Taliban. That does not mean endorsement. It doesn't mean approval. But in diplomacy, there is no harm in keeping your channels open, and it does not have to be at the highest level, it can be at any level. So flexibility is required sometimes. But the policy must be clear. And that policy must be to maintain good relations with the Afghan government, but at the same time to spread your options.
So the one last question to you. So recently there have been reports, and ex-President Hamid Karzai has also alleged that ISIS is being installed in the northern Afghanistan and they are getting supplies through helicopters, unidentified helicopters. How do you think that what is going to be the future of Afghanistan? Because if the southern border is going to be occupied by Taliban and the northern areas are going to be occupied by ISIS, then where is the stability of Afghanistan in near future?
Afghanistan is unstable, and I do not see it returning to stability anytime soon. Yes, I have also seen reports and I have talked to friends in Afghanistan who say that the presence of ISIS is growing, and ISIS fighters from or even families of members of the ISIS who are Chechens, who are Uyghurs, Uzbeks, Tajiks. They are coming and settling in some pockets in Afghanistan, including the north, but also including the southern eastern parts of Afghanistan. Now, this is not a happy development and it needs monitoring. But as of today, I do not see that the ISIS has reached a critical mass. They've developed a capacity to stage some terrorist attacks, which they've claimed, including in Kabul. But the real danger is still from the Afghan Taliban. And there, of course, President Ashraf Ghani has announced a new approach, or in a very extravagant way. He's saying talks without preconditions, and he's invited the Afghan Taliban to even sort of transform themselves into a political party, take part in elections. He has said that he is willing to even under the Afghan constitution look at amendments to that constitution. He said that they can open a political office in Kabul or in some other place, third place which they want. Now, till now at least, there has been no real response from the Taliban, though there are reports that I have seen in the media which indicate that some sections, some few people here and there are showing some interest. But the hardcore, the core leadership, showing no interest. So we've got to really wait and watch as to how this observes, but it requires deep monitoring by India all the time.
Thank you so much, sir. We look forward meeting you soon again. Thank you.